welcome back to another video on the channel. So I know that my uploads are obviously like really inconsistent and stuff like that, but there's really not a whole lot I can do about it right now. Just got a whole bunch of real life stuff going on. So in today's video, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be changing out the spring on our CVTech primary. Right now I believe that there is a 1016 spring in there. This is a 1017 spring. So hopefully we're going to get a little bit more torque out of it. If that doesn't do it, we can always just throw some penny weights in. I got to do some tuning to it anyways. And I don't see a whole lot of, well, I guess it's not necessarily true, but you don't see a whole lot of people using the clutch puller on the CVTech primary. They usually just like pop it off, which I don't really blame them too much. Or they pre-tune it before they put it on their machines. But I've been running my CVTech primary stock pretty much since I put it on there, and haven't done any changes to it, and it's worked perfectly fine, to be honest. But we're kind of looking at moving up to a bigger size tire. Probably gonna move on to the 28-inch with 14-inch wheels on the Mega Mayhems, so hopefully you can get the actual like full 28s out of them. So without further ado, let's get started. So first thing you're going to want is you're going to want this bolt to loosen your secondary. So you're going to stick it in here. Because the reality is you're going to need to order two parts. You're going to need to order this bolt. You're also going to need to order the CVTech clutch puller. Don't use the one from Can Am. Believe me, I've already tried. It does not work. Doesn't fit. Too short. Because the CVTech primary is like one big piece. Whereas the original primary, you unbolt this bolt right here, and then the front facing piece comes off, and then you have to unbolt the flywheel on the back. So, and for those wondering, yes, I've already taken the case off. I know a lot of people wanted to see me taking the case off and get frustrated trying to get that thing off. It's not bad, honestly. It's really easy. There's only one bolt down towards the bottom over here, and Can Am owners will tell you that bolt's a pain in the ass and it sucks and nobody likes it. So we're going to go ahead and loosen the belt on the secondary. So we'll do that. Make sure you remember what way your belt was facing, because I get told a lot that it's very important, and I can definitely see why. This belt doesn't have too much wear. I'm probably going to stick it back on and then just replace it later, because it's actually not that bad, so I'm not really concerned about that. So we're going to set the belt out of the way here. Next we're going to want to take this bolt off of the CVTech primary. So we're going to go ahead and do that real quick. Milwaukee drill's not going to cut it, so we're going to have to use the big guy. So we're going to take that bolt out, and if you're like me, like a dumbass, try to pull it off, and obviously it's not going to go nowhere. So that's why we're going to take our clutch puller and pray to God that our little Milwaukee drill is going to be able to push this off, which something tells me I don't think it's going to be able to. But we shall find out, won't we? What are the odds? Jesus. Okay, so it turns out that the puller didn't work. I'm assuming that's because my my impact gun isn't big enough. Take that, CVTech. Now I gotta mark it and make sure I don't screw it up. God! Ow! 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 Alright, so here's the 1016 spring. Not too bad, and then here's the 1017 spring, I guess. It kind of looked quite a bit different than what I was thinking. But once we get it all back together, we'll see just how she works. Okay, so I'll get up close here. As you can see, there's a little hexagon in there that I didn't see before. I kind of did a little bit of research on just to make sure you never want to screw these things up. This is my first time ever doing this, to be fair. The reason why none of my stuff works, it only makes sense, right? So this is probably going to be the crappy part. Does it matter which side? I don't think so. So let's go ahead. So I'll make sure that the little hexagon right here lines up with the hexagon on here. So this is going to be the crappy part, because the spring's got a lot of pressure. It was off camera, but I got it back on, kinda, I think. It's pretty close. Alright, it stopped. So basically, we got everything like lined up and everything, and it still turns like normal, so that's good. Basically what I did to get this back on kind of straight, because this is hard as hell. Basically what you do is you line this up, the CVTech outer casing, line it up with the hex on the inside. Once you do that, you basically put the washer on, because there's really no way to like hold the washer in place, to be fair. Then you take the nut, you screw the nut on, and once you do that, you take your impact, and then once you do that, stick it on there, and just keep screwing it on until the hex eventually kind of fits itself, because it does kind of work itself in, so that's kind of nice. Let's stick the belt back on. And I did notice a very significant difference in the type of spring, for sure. Then we're going to take our pretty much useless, nope, not the right size. There we go. We're going to take our Milwaukee drill, get out the secondary bolt. So the reality is you don't need the puller at all, because the puller didn't work for me to get this thing off. So now we're going to take the secondary, wind it back in. Then we got to find our bolt, whatever the hell I did with it. There it is. Now, believe it or not, this wasn't very tight when they put it together originally. Why? I'll never know. I don't know where this size came from, but that's the size I need to fit. And we should be good. Now we'll start it up, and if it blows up, hopefully it's all on camera, because that would suck a lot. Make sure she's in neutral. And that is how you replace your spring on your CVTech primary. Again, I really apologize that the puller didn't work. I mean, it is what it is. Yeah, it's whatever, but no big deal. Just remember that it is possible to change it without the puller. I honestly believe that I needed it, because I didn't even know that I had a bolt that size, a socket. And the socket size, if it'll focus, so 1 1/4, basically 1 1/4. So 1 1/4 inch fits the bolt, so, or nut, whatever you want to call it. And then you do need to have your bolt spread secondary. I believe this is the same across all Can-Ams. I could definitely be wrong. But this is the one off my 450 Outlander, if anybody remembers that thing. So I just used that, sticked it in there, and it just happened to work. So I'll definitely drive it around and let you guys know in like an upcoming video how well it works in terms of performance, stuff like that, because there's a significant difference between that one and this spring, which, like I said, I believe, I could be wrong, but the stock primary spring for the Outlander L, because I know it's different when you order like a CVTech primary. I guess apparently sometimes they come with different springs, but this is a 1016? And I could push down this pretty hard. And that one I put in there, I couldn't push it down hardly at all. So I don't know if it's going to give it more low end necessarily. I believe that's the case from what research I've done. I'm not the smartest person in the world when it comes to clutches. I just like to modify stuff. And it's either that or it's reversed, where you get more, what was it, kind of like low or higher speed because it keeps it in like a lower gear for a longer period of time. And if you add weights to it, it supposedly goes through that spring a little bit faster. I don't know. I'm going to have to experiment with it. Like I said, I don't really understand it. There's different forums and stuff you can look up online if you're really confused about it, like I am. So, yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching, and stay safe, ride safe, and don't get your foot stuck in the clutch when you're riding with no case.